fun and the golden yellow sun. Yes, indeed. And welcome back to this week's session of Wednesday Wisdom. This week, we'll be looking at how to live for ourselves rather than living for other people. And what exactly does that mean? So on Monday, we looked at the quote, "I am not who you think I am. I am not who I think I am. I am who I think you think I am." Meaning that we live in a perception of ourselves. So we don't live the way we want to live, but we live the way we think others want us to live. And like I said on Monday, that's why we change so much about ourselves to try and act like the way that other people want us to live. And we change it so much to the extent where it's hard to understand if this is actually who we truly are, or if this is what others think we truly are, or what they want us to be. Now, first of all, the question is, why do we change, right? Why do we feel the need to ask for other people's validation? And that comes down a lot onto trying to fit in. See, we don't see ourselves in other people, and that's because everybody's unique, right? I mean, if everybody was the same, if the whole world was filled with the same kind of person, that would get kind of boring, right? But sometimes we're unable to understand that, right? We don't see ourselves in people. But then we have these certain categories, the boxes that we do see, we try to fit ourselves in them. And I feel like that's a very natural human thing to do, right? Because everybody feels happier when they belong to a certain group, a certain community. That could be like your friend group, or maybe your family, or I don't know, your class in school, right? Or maybe where you work, there's like a group with you and your employees. So everybody feels really nice when they can like just belong with a certain group. But sometimes I think we take it a step too far trying to fit into those certain groups, when really it's quite the opposite of who we are. It's the opposite of what we wear, what we do, what we like, what kind of music we listen to. It's the opposite of everything that we stand for. But sometimes we're just so desperate to fit in that the pressure to belong somewhere is just so intense that we feel like we're left with no other choice but to change these elements and these aspects about ourselves and our personality in order to fit in with that group. Now, like I said before, while fitting in and, feeling like you're part of a community can feel really, really good, it's not always the right thing to do. Or at least, I think when people can't understand that they've crossed the line in terms of fitting in. You know what I mean? Like when people do too much, when people just change the authentic things about themselves, I feel like that's very wrong, because it's like, imagine, you're probably thinking like, oh my God, Aashna, like, you're being a bit over dramatic now, right? Like, who cares about if you change the way you look, or if you change your music taste, or small personality traits? Like, it's okay, it works, but really does it? I mean, if you just think about it, right? It's like these small things that you do on a day-to-day basis, they show how you express and how you react to your environment, right? And it's the little things about you that make you, right? It's the little things about you that make you unique. So if you had to change that to try and act like someone else, to mirror them and their actions, or to mirror this group of people, then what happened to the real you? Like you are purposefully changing it, not because it's growth or coming of age, but because you are trying to be like someone else. And when we do that, we are never truly happy. We are happiest when we are ourselves. And so many times, like, we are living in this echo chamber, right? In this little bubble where everyone is telling us how to behave, how to act like, and even if they're not telling us, we are assuming. Because remember, that's what a perception of ourselves is. We are assuming that they are thinking this about us. And therefore, because we like seeking their validation, we try and act the way we think they think of us. We don't know what they're actually thinking, obviously, unless you ask them. So all of this is heavily based on assumption, which makes it even worse.